Another year is here, and with that we have another deluge of Steam Next Fest demos. It's time once more to break down our favorite previews of upcoming games, and we like to focus on the ones that show the most promise or the most absolutely unhinged creativity. As always, if you want to join us at the Heroes table, we'll shout out a few ways you can support the channel near the end of this video. Until then, please enjoy our best and weirdest picks from the latest Steam Next Fest. Let's get stuck in. My name is Boss Sauce.
And I'm Rollinkins. And together, we are the Two-Headed Hero.
Starting off on some slightly safer ground, we have OUTCAST, A New Beginning. A sequel to a 25-year-old cult classic adventure game was definitely not on my bingo card this year, but it's good to see it nonetheless. Strap into the cute little jetpack and signature bright orange shirt of Cutter Slade, an elite operative stranded on the vibrant alien world of Adelpha. Jump, climb, and glide your way through a detailed open map to uncover clues that lead to hidden quests, and push back an oppressive robot invasion with a big old pile of guns, herbal remedies, and an energy shield that can be used for both blocking and bashing. Although some of the production value might not rival the biggest and shiniest open world games out there, OUTCAST is shaping up to be an interesting entry into the B tier of games, and this is definitely one to keep an eye on. If you prefer to inspire a robot uprising rather than putting one down, take a look at Times and Galaxy. Become the very first robot reporter in the universe and travel from planet to planet with your faithful human photographer in search of the ultimate scoop. Don't let the colorful art of this point-and-clicker fool you. A robot revolution is just around the corner, and behind the cold metal exterior of your robot journalist lies the calculating mind of a freedom fighter. After you gather enough clues and interviews from the scene of the latest story, you'll be able to choose whether to stick with the bare facts or compromise your journalistic integrity with sensational headlines, turning the galactic periodical into your very own space tabloid and changing the path that this game's plot will take. It's a unique mix of deductive reasoning and detective work, sure to excite your circuits. But maybe you prefer to take a more hands-on approach in your robot uprising. Raw Metal asks you the question, what if Solid Snake was a fragile robot construction worker? In this unique stealth roguelite game, you step into the work boots of a hard-hatted martial artist in order to sneak through industrial facilities and beat the hell out of lots of yellow guys. Instead of silenced pistols and neck-breaking takedowns, Raw Metal is filled with kung fu fisticuffs. Every encounter plays out like a short beat-em-up. Take care though, your Iron Operative can only take 3 hits in a fight before it's lights out and all the way back to the main menu. Succeeding against these mustard-colored guardians results in a cool, stylish slow-motion splash screen, as well as a little bit of loot and equipment. Tasers, noisemakers, and traps can get you out of a tight spot, and your little metal laborer can also equip a variety of special armor pieces to enhance their abilities. Raw Metal might be difficult and punishing, but its special mixture is sure to appeal to those that want a little sneaking in their slap fights. If robot-on-robot violence gives you pause, then scroll past this massive end-user license agreement and enter the universe of Bears in Space. This bizarre mashup of an extremely fast first-person shooter and a pile of goofy minigames kept me on my toes with its lighthearted surprises and absurd humor. Play basketball against a team of robots, feed batteries to this thing, and terrorize a tiny town as a Bearzilla. Think High on Life if it actually had jokes instead of just constantly annoying jabber, and you're halfway there. But wait, what's the other half? A good first-person shooter lies underneath the surface. Fast and frantic action is bolstered by an arsenal that takes the greatest hits of the genre and refines them with a retro sci-fi spaceship coat of paint. Wait, is that the flak cannon from Unreal Tournament? Well, you bet it is. If you didn't get enough of the shooty-dodgy gameplay from New Doom, or if playing the role of a testosterone-fueled murder machine is more than you can bear, you need to check out this Ursine adventure yourself. But maybe you're bear-phobic and still want a game featuring furry creatures that dish out a lot of damage. Well, worry not. Trash of the Titans is here to scratch that itch. This cute roguelike pixel RPG grants you a goon squad of garbage eaters, a badger warrior, a raccoon ninja, a possum archer, and a skunk mage all team up to rescue refuse from the clutches of the rat bastards that try to steal it out from underneath your fuzzy little noses. With each victory, you'll get to rearrange your rubbish in a Tetris minigame in order to provide the most optimal nutrients to each of your furry fighters. Trash of the Titans has a Final Fantasy Tactics feel with puzzle-like encounters, and the demo even includes a couple battles with massive murderous rodent bosses to block your progress. It's sure to make you think. or make you hungry. Strategy is serious business though, so if you want something more Game of Thrones than Watership Down, check out Crown Wars: The Black Prince. This medieval XCOM takes place in 1300s era Europe during a bitter war between England and France, but has you taking control of a secret society charged with fighting an occult threat. Such classic historical characters as Smashy Hammer Lady, Dog Buddy Skullman, and Plague Dr. Alchemist all make an appearance here as your team of specialists trudge on through the game's muddy medieval streets. The inclusion of a castle management section and an overland map form the crown jewels in this Dark Ages strategy RPG, and some decent voice acting and cinematic presentation add some further polish to the crown.
Oh, mercy.
While having nice cinematic presentation can be great, what if you crave a game with, well, none? In that case, maybe you'll want to spend some time with GRIST. It's a deck-building roguelite RPG with no deck where you hurtle through space and try to outrun a grisly fate at the hands of an alien plague. Take on jobs to pay your way as your team battles increasingly dangerous bandits and cosmic horrors beyond description, which are largely indescribable due to the game's ASCII retro graphics. Battles play out automatically, but you can choose to give special orders out each turn, provided that the non-deck has shuffled in your favor and that you have sufficient trust with your team. Deal with random events and harsh skill checks as you decipher alien relics and blow up pirate space stations. Meet your doom in the unforgiving vacuum and start all over again. If you don't mind retro graphics and have a good ear for synthwave, put GRIST on your wish list. But if you want a deck builder that contains much more deck, then check out INFEST. It's a series of sequential roguelite card battles where each pixel on the playing field can influence the combat. Utilize the terrain and physics to burn, zap, freeze, and melt your enemies, and combine these effects with special playing cards to turn the tide of a fight, sometimes quite literally. Hidden traps can help or hinder your progress against the game's tougher enemies, who will do all they can to seek shelter from your elemental downpour. If you wish Slay the Spire had more timing-based skill elements, then INFEST might be your best bet. Not all turn-based games need a deck, though. ARCO is a great example of a game about making all the right moves. Hike up your loincloth and feed your llama, because it's time to travel across a lush pixel jungle while battling giant toads, huge bugs, and even a killer treasure chest. See what your enemies are doing before they do it and use this information to prevail. When you're not fighting, enjoy a gloriously catchy South American flavored soundtrack and poke around for loot, food, or even the occasional friendly cowboy. Or ditch the story mode entirely in favor of messing around with different characters in the game's Battle Arena mode. It's a simple but effective take on turn-based strategy that drips with charm and style. Speaking of games that drip and games that have style, we have BIOMORPH. It's a Metroidvania where you can turn into goo at will and take over the dead bodies of your enemies. It's kinda like Pokemon, if you wore the Pokemon as your skin after each battle. Fight off alien invaders by using their own monsters against them, all the while searching for your missing friend. The animation is gorgeous, the controls are tight, and you have very talkative hands, which is fine. Make your escape from the mothership into a quiet seaside village where you'll be doing little side quests like helping this old lady find her slugs. While the first boss fight might have been a little rudimentary, this demo showed off a lot of promise, as does the interesting premise of turning into the monsters that you fight. But maybe that's still not enough Metroidvania, or goo, for you. Well, good thing there's a second gooey Metroidvania on this list then. ULTROS is a psychedelic bop through a bizarre and beautiful dreamscape. Take on the role of a mighty hunter who's lost their memory in this land of bioorganic wonderment. Meet new and interesting creatures and messily butcher them with precise combos before eating them raw. You'll be doing a lot of this because consuming nutrients is the only way to restore your vitality and unlock the memories of your hunting moves. Journey to find a way out of this dreamlike delusion you find yourself stuck in and encounter tons of strange characters and angry monsters along the way. ULTROS will already be out by the time this video drops, so if any of this seems like it's going to fill the Metroidvania void in your heart, be sure to give it a try. So at this point, you're probably saying to yourself, hey, I want my psychedelic landscapes to be way less gooey. Enough platformers, let's play a game about looking at your hands. ECLIPSIUM may not only be about hand admiring, but you'll sure be doing a lot of it here. All kidding aside, this is a strange, chunky lo-fi adventure game with minimal presentation and maximal vibes. ECLIPSIUM focuses on single button interactions. Your right hand extends when you can use something, while your left hand can hold a single inventory item. Go on a hike, touch the plants, cut some firewood, eat these strange mushrooms growing in the woods, Cap off a perfect evening by staring into the ominous burning tower before setting off on your trip through eyeball-infested mines. Without spoiling too much of the surprise, the genius in this game revolves around interesting takes on performing mundane actions. Even something as simple as putting gas in a boat engine becomes a multi-level crawl through the bowels of a ship. ECLIPSIUM generates uneasy vibes without quite becoming a full-on horror game, and the demo is really something that should be experienced firsthand. Speaking of mundane tasks, a ton of survival games make actions like harvesting, wood cutting, and mining a total bore. What if we could spice this up by, say, blasting through layers of stone and shale with a minigun? This is the entire premise of Bore Blasters. Launch your helicopter down into caves of mineral-rich planets in probably the most ill-advised use of a helicopter ever thought of. Search for precious gems and huge, inconveniently placed treasure chests by blasting tunnels through solid rock. But keep an eye out for incorporeal rock-boring bats, giant hornets, explosives, and your most deadly enemy of all, the ground. Make it to the payload before running out of fuel and you'll come back with a cargo full of riches that can be used to upgrade your little chopper. The race against the fuel gauge and constant screen-filling destruction makes Bore Blasters a welcome diversion that's sure to get its hooks in you. However, hooks aren't the only gear that you'll need to survive in normal fishing. It's only tangentially a fishing game and quite the opposite of normal, but here we go anyways. Enjoy the Sunny D filtered pixel art as you shoot bait pellets at various types of sea life and wrestle them into the bottom of your boat to fish get. Sell the fish off to satisfy your weird talking wife's lust for wealth. Keep an eye out for item of value while increasing your rapport with the fish worshipping villagers by showing off your rad angler skills and completing quests. It quickly becomes clear that something evil stirs below the surface of this placid lake, and without giving too much away, normal fishing definitely subverts our expectations in a similar manner of other art games like Frog Fractions, Pony Island, or Inscription. I can't wait to see more. But if you need your expectations subverted immediately, cast your eyes upon CRYPTMASTER. This game bears all the trappings of a traditional grid-based dungeon crawler save for one brilliant detail. Every action is performed by typing it in on the keyboard. Your adventurers wake up in a crypt, having recently returned from the dead, and the CRYPTMASTER is here to help guide their journey and reshape their memories so that they can regain a modicum of their abilities. Fight ferocious monsters in real-time combat by frantically typing in the names of your attacks and spells. Make the CRYPTMASTER taste and smell all this weird junk he finds in treasure chests.
What are we going to do with it? It's hairy and wriggly. What now? It tastes furry and rather disagreeable. It looks like a ball of fur with a string attached. A rat. Yes, that's what it's called.
And get a few letters to clue you in on the character's abilities in return. Conquer the trials of your tomb to make your way to the surface and begin a new reign of terror in the world above.
It was orange.
Orange?
But I have one more question. If you are truly a living person, this should be an easy one.
I'm gonna answer it with orange again.
Describe the sun.
Yep.
I'm gonna say also orange.
It does sometimes look that color. You
Yes,
are
yes.
indeed one of the living.
Did it.
May pass.
Playing as the bad guys is always a fun twist, and the game's excellent voiceover, humor, and writing are wrapped in a beautiful black and white visual style. CRYPTMASTER is definitely one to wishlist for wordplay fans. But if you prefer to read words rather than type them in, give your fingers a break and enter the fantasy realm of esoteric ebb. Wake up on a morgue slab as the cleric, a somewhat incompetent member of the clergy that is tasked to solving mysteries alongside a witty goblin sidekick. There's some real brain ticklers here, including investigating how you died, why the morgue you woke up in is filled with rotten apples, and try to puzzle out the how and the why surrounding a tea house that blew up. Esoteric Ebb is one of the first storytelling RPGs we've seen in the vein of Disco Elysium, but unlike that brilliant adventure, there's much more to do with spellcasting, fantasy lore, and more traditional RPG skill checks. Complex political factions, impactful loot, narrative-based combat, and buckets upon buckets of dice rolls make this a great spin on the gamebook genre that's sure to bring plenty of tabletop players into its world. There's a lot to like here if you prefer to think through challenges rather than button bash. Plus, who doesn't want a sarcastic goblin second-guessing your decisions at every turn? It's hard to get enough goblins in your life, so why settle for one goblin when you can have 3 goblins stacked up in a trench coat? 3 Goblin WOBBLIN is a balancing act where you play as a stack of little green guys in a clever disguise. The nearby taverns have a standing no goblin policy, so it's up to your little crew to sneak in and steal their delicious pretzels. But that's not the only challenge. Don't get too close to the villagers or they'll see through your clever disguise, and above all, don't fall over. And that's it. 3 Goblin WOBBLIN might be a simple premise, but this adorable physics game will have you coming back for just one more try. So there we have it, 17 of the best and weirdest picks from the latest batch of Steam Next Fest demos. Did you find a favorite yourself, or just something too strange for words? Let us know down below in the comments. If you like what we're doing here on Two-Headed Hero and want to support our little channel, join these fine folk at the Heroes table. Our Patreon starts at merely 2 doubloons per month, or shoot us a tip on our Ko-Fi page. If your finances are wobbling like these little goblins, that's okay too. You can still help us out by doing all the cool algorithm stuff that YouTube enjoys and sharing our videos with your buddies on social media. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next Two-Headed Hero.